coverage at Neutral Zone. I'm Ed Biesinger. I'm going to be moderating a discussion as we walk through the 31 first round picks. I'm joined by sitting to my left, Ian Moran. I'm joined by the OHL scouts, Marlon and Paul O'Hagan. I'm joined by Donald Gaudreau, who covers the Western Hockey League, and I'm joined by Sorty Athana, who covers the Q, the Quebec Major Junior League. So I guess we'll jump right into it. With the first pick of the draft, the Rangers, to no surprise, took Alexis Lafreniere. Ian, what type of player do you think the Rangers are getting?
I think he's just a dominant kid. I really don't think there was any doubt all year that he was going to go number one. There was some chatter for a little bit about Byfield, but I think when it came right down to it with Lafreniere and what happened to World Juniors, being injured, coming back, still putting up the points he put up, MVP. I think he won MVP, right? And he was just dominant in that age group. And there was talk that even if he's an 01, but even if he was eligible last year, he would have pushed to be the number one. So I really, in my mind, he was the number one all along. Sorts, Jib, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I have to agree. And after seeing him play over the last 3 years, like you said, he's already played 3 years in the Q, and it seems like every year he's adding a little more to his game. Like in his first year in the Q, he put up 40 goals, and then in the year after, he mixed in some more playmaking and puck handling abilities. And this year, what really I think pushed him ahead of the pack was his physical frame and how he was able to play physically and really engage. Working around defensemen and working around the net. So I think he's definitely the most well-rounded player. There's no flaws to his game, and he's definitely going to be a difference maker at the next level right off the bat. So, and I think his ability to compete and step up in the big games at big times, like we saw in the World Juniors at the Helinka, I think is what I really think will make him a big-time player at the NHL.
And so with the second pick, the Kings had moved up through the lottery and selected from the OHL from Sudbury, Quentin Byfield. So I guess we'll first go to Ian.
I just think at his size and how powerful he is, there was, he distinguished himself from everybody else in the draft. He has a chance to be something special, to be just a great two-way guy. He's enormous. He skates really well. He's got great soft hands. He's a competitive kid. He battles, and there's a ton to like about him. I know Marlon and Paul have been watching him for a long time. So, what do you guys think?
He's first and foremost, he's a physical specimen. I mean, he's an athlete. He's a 6'4" athlete that's probably going to play the game when he tops out at 225 pounds. Reminds me a lot, physically of Todd Bertuzzi with great big man with a skill set, and they're always dangerous. And knocks against him are his consistency, but that can be coached out of him, I'm sure. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, same thing. We've been looking at him since minor midget, and minor midget looked at times like he might have been a bit bored. Needed to get pushed a bit, and as soon as he stepped into the OHL, it was game on. He was the presence. He was the first overall pick in the OHL, and he's just. He's really, really elevated his game in the last few years. Very impressed with him.
Yeah, in the games I saw, I didn't see him take anything off. He went hard all the time. He drove the net. He was obviously a target by everybody. The defenders were taking runs at him and bouncing off. He's a big, big, strong kid. I agree with you. I think he's going to probably play at about 220, 225, and those body types that can skate the way he can are hard to find.
How do you guys think he'll fit in next year in the NHL right away?
Well, I think it'll be an adjustment for him. Even
one of the things you're always worried about, the kid's physically ready. Like he's, I don't know if another year in the OHL is going to do him any good. When you're that size and you're that strength, it's, that kid will fit.
Yeah.
As we move on to the third pick, Ottawa had, I think, 3 picks in the first round. With the first of their 3, they took Tim Stützle from the DEL. Ian?
Well, he's just a kid. He produces. He's big. He's strong. the advantage with the kids that the German kids now have, they're playing in the DEL and they're playing against guys who have played in North America and have played in NHL style. You know, they might be older guys that have spent time in the American League, but even still, he's a kid. He put up points in his own age group and did really well, and then playing in the DEL against guys who had maybe not a ton of NHL success, but have had success playing in North America and done well. And he certainly competed with those guys and improved his worth. He's a strong kid. He's got a quick release. He goes to the dirty areas. I know we had him going a little bit later than that. I know he's been in the top 5 pretty much all year. He was with us early, and then we dropped him down. Strictly my reasoning for dropping him down was thinking that he's playing in the DEL, and a lot of the guys that are over there he's having success against are guys that are playing that were coming out of the American League. But he's an 18-year-old kid and did really well with those guys. So it's it's not a total shock, I don't think, to anybody.
Perfect. All right, we can keep moving here. Detroit with the 4th pick, they took Lucas Raymond out of Frölunda in Sweden.
He's just a player. I mean, in my opinion, the couple Swedes, you get him, Holtz, and then the Finn Lindell. Those kids are all, in my mind, they're going to be ready to play right away. He's got a great release. He fires it. He hits the net. He's deceptive. He's a hockey player. He gets the puck in the offensive zone. You can see it. He's creative. He knows where to go. In that league, there's a lot of puck possession and timing and cycling, and he excels in that type of thing. I think he's a kid that is going to do really well, and he's going to have an impact very early on. So,
okay. Ottawa picked next. With the 5th pick, they're second of the first round. They took the first American in the first defenseman in the draft with Jake Sanderson, who's at North Dakota. As a freshman.
Yeah. Feel like I'm doing all the talking now. From the moment I saw Sanderson this year or last year at the Fall Classic, so roughly 13 months ago, I just thought he was exceptional. He's confident, he's poised, he skates really well. He's got that extra gear. He's incredibly smooth while he's pivoting. There's no, as Sorts just said, there's really no gitch in his stride when he's trying to gap up or when he's trying to lose somebody that's forechecking him. He's incredibly poised with the puck. Was lucky enough to go over and see him play in the U18 Five Nations over in Sweden, and he was, in my opinion, he was the best kid there, and the best kid there by quite a bit. He's a leader. His father played in the NHL. It's obvious that he's got a background where he's talked a lot of hockey because his hockey sense is very high. And he's big and he's strong, and going to North Dakota is a great thing. So I think you guys have probably seen him.
And I think there's a good connection with the Senators and North Dakota there, having a couple of their prospects already playing for North Dakota with Pinto and Bernard Docker. And I think seeing the way Bernard Docker has developed as a defenseman probably, I think, influenced picking Sanderson going to North Dakota as well. But that's a solid player.
Another defenseman came off the board at 6 to the Ducks. He's out of the OHL, playing up in Erie. Jamie Drysdale.
Marlon or Paul?
Yeah, Drysdale to us. He's been kind of the cream of the crop here in Ontario for a few years. Great skating defenseman. He won't overpower you, but he gaps up well. I'd argue he's one of the best skaters around. In at that age, and forward defense, it doesn't matter. I'm really looking for him to dominate the OHL next year offensively. He can play it both ways. He was on the World Junior team, the team that won it all. He was the 7th D, but he got good minutes. There were some injuries in the back end, and he didn't look out of place at all. To me, he's been, as I said, the cream of the crop in that Ontario group, and it's a good group of Ontario defensemen in the cream of the crop there for a few years.
Yeah, skating for sure. Skating's world class. He jumped from minor midget into the OHL and transitioned like he'd been there forever. He looked right at home, and the tempo, the pace, wasn't a size for him. He's not the biggest guy, but when you skate that well, you can't hit him because you can't catch him. So he's great. He's a nice player to watch.
To me, he's incredibly dynamic in transition in the neutral zone. He can get the puck. He can do an escape to lose somebody. He's really good at carrying the puck backwards and changing angle and, carrying the puck almost backwards to gain space, time and space through the neutral zone. His feet are excellent. There's no doubt about it.
With the 7th pick, the Devils took out of Sweden Alex Holtz, the right winger.
Yeah, he's another kid physically. I think he's ready. He's right in there with Lucas Raymond and Anton Lindell as the kids who come out of Sweden and Finland. They're well prepared. They're well coached. He falls right in that line. He's already 190, 195 pounds. So physically, he's ready to play. He's ready to compete. I think he's a kid to me that could have gone higher. I wouldn't have been shocked if he did, but I think this is a great pick.
Back to the OHL for pick 8 for Buffalo. They took Jack Quinn out of Ottawa. Paul or Marlon?
Not surprising to me. I mean, when you look where this kid was 4 years ago, he's playing Double-A Bantam hockey in the Ottawa area. He's not even playing at the Triple-A level. Scoring goals at that level, and then his trajectory, was incredible. 1 year of Tier 2 hockey, and he's Rookie of the Year, and then up to Ottawa. And second year in Ottawa, he explodes for 52 goals. And a guy that can shoot like that, and then people say, well, what about his defensive game? Well, he might have been the most complete 200-foot player, in the Ontario Hockey League. The way this guy worked hard on the back check and killed penalties and just battled everywhere. I think when you take those type of attributes and you put it on the stick of a guy who can score 50 goals a year, it's not surprising he jumped up to where he was and ahead of a few guys in most polls. I would think everyone had kind of Rossi and Profetti ahead of him, but it didn't surprise me, no.
Yeah, and if I think back to when he first popped on our radar, or was it the OHL Gold Cup, which is kind of an all-star game of the various leagues. At 16 years old as they're going into the OHL draft, it's just after the OHL draft. Real high IQ, smart passer. And then this year on Ottawa's Western Swing early in the year, I was real surprised at the development of his shot. He had a couple goals that goalies didn't even see. So you can really see that he's, as Marlon said, he's a player who's really developed really quickly over the last 2 or 3 years since we've been watching him in minor hockey and the transition to junior.
So staying in the OHL, Minnesota with the 9th overall pick took Marco Rossi from Ottawa. Is Marlon or Paul?
Well, what the pros love about Marco is, I mean, the guy is electric and he can shoot the puck or make the most creative plays at full speed. He's got a great motor, an exceptional motor, and he makes these plays and spins and moves, and that puck's just glued to his stick. And in the NHL, it's all about pace anymore, and this guy's got incredible pace. Score him, set him up. It doesn't matter. And again, he's a little bit undersized, but battles all over the ice, used as a penalty killer. I mean, on a great hockey club. So he was their driving guy. He's outstanding.
And shout out to the 67s in Ottawa. They're the thing I liked about Rossi. Great two-way game. Worked hard all over the ice, hounded pucks. These guys are well coached in that system, and they're learning how to play the game and competing. The full 200 feet on the ice.
He's pretty dynamic with the puck. I mean, his lateral movement and his full speed and cutting left to right is pretty exceptional. You guys said that he's a battler and he can play with pace. And that pace with the puck skills he has, he's obviously special.
Strong kid too. Just because he's a little undersized, I don't think size will be an issue at the next level because he's so strong. Right? His lower body gets so low to the ice, he doesn't really get knocked off the puck. So he's going to be fun to watch.
So rounding out the top 10, the Jets with the 10 pick stayed in the OHL. They took Cole Profetti.
Yeah, Cole went right around where we thought he'd go. He's as skilled as any player that we've seen in Ontario in the last 4 or 5 years. He scored at every level. First saw him as a Bantam playing up a year. The next year when he came back, you figured he was going to dominate. He did. First year in the OHL, he led all rookies in scoring. And this year he was second in the league behind Rossi. He's such a creative player, fun to watch. There's a few questions about his foot speed, but the one thing I have noticed is that as he's kind of built that core strength up, he's moving with much better pace. But this kid's got a nose for the net, and I love him. I love him around the net.
Yeah, he's probably from the blue line in. Like, he's an absolute wizard, and he hurts you in so many ways. Like, if you back off this kid and give him any time and space, he kills you. So you swarm him with a couple of guys, and he waits till the last second and draws 2 guys out of position, and then finds the open man. And when he passes the puck, like it's the perfect pass at the perfect time. He's just got that innate ability. Nobody can coach it. A kid is kind of born with it and then works at it to develop it. And the kid's got it. I was one of the naysayers that said, his skating's going to hurt him at the OHL level, and he proved me wrong. And I thought his skating would hurt him internationally. And he went into the Ivan Olinka and lit it right up. And I'll say, his skating's going to hurt him at the NHL level. He's going to prove me wrong again. He's a great pick, and he's just probably the highest IQ or creative guy that there is in that draft.
Yeah, to me, his skating, he might not have the straightaway breakaway speed, but his agility and his ability to feel the pressure and have somebody on his back and do a tight turn and lose him was pretty exceptional. I thought that early in the year, if he had somebody on his back, there was times he was getting knocked down, maybe not all the way down, but down to a knee. But as the year went on, I thought he got stronger and stronger. And I think, Paul, you said you could see it in his core.
Yeah.
He started to battle a little bit more. But, honestly, he might not be the fastest blue line to blue line, but if he gets the space and somebody's on him, he is unbelievably quick, and he does everything with his head up and his eyes up and his hands ready to make that play. I think he's got a chance to do something special right away.
So moving on, Nashville took the first goalie off the board at pick 11, Askarov out of St. Petersburg in Russia.
Yeah, you guys see him at all? Or he's unbelievably quick. He's when I'm watching a goalie, I can't tell you what I like. I can tell you what I don't like, and I hate when goalies go, post to post laterally and they end up with their hips on the outside of the post. And he's not that kid at all. It's almost like he baits the shooter, or he baits a 2-on-1 and what he wants, and forces them thinking they're going to get a pass that's a backdoor goal, and he slides across, but he stays right on the pipe. His foot stays on the pipe. He doesn't get outside of the paint at all. He's a kid that there was talk of him even going higher than this, but he's pretty unbelievable. He's confident. He keeps getting better and better, and he's a kid. The goalies take a little bit longer, but I think he started out the year pretty well over right now with the KHL. I think he had a shutout right away, right? And then a 1-goal game. And, he's a kid that could be over here sooner than later.
I remember watching him. I've watched him a little bit in the showcases in the international tournaments. I remember watching for the first time when he was 16, when Raymond was in that tournament as well, when he absolutely lit it up. But I think it was the finals. It was Sweden against Russia, and Sharov just stood on his head and was incredible. He was pretty much unbeatable. So I think he's huge. He has a big wingspan. I think he's going to be an amazing goalie. His World Juniors wasn't as great, but his team defensively wasn't as strong as either, right? So I think he's going to be incredible, and Nashville's definitely getting ready for the future here.
With the 12th pick, Florida took out of Finland, Anton Lindell, 6'1" centerman. Ian?
I love this kid. He's very, very good two-way player. He's strong. He's unbelievably responsible defensively. physically, I think he's going to be ready to play right away. He's about 6'1", 190 pounds. I think he can get a little bit heavier, but I'm a huge fan of the Finns and how they play. They play on the hybrid sheet that's not as big as the true Olympic sheet. It's not as small as the NHL sheet, but their game, it's much more of a grinding game than the other European countries. And he's a kid to me. I could see him going higher than he went, but he is an unbelievably responsible young hockey player who's only going to get better. And his skills, I think, are underrated. He can create, he can make plays, especially make plays off the cycle. But he is, in my opinion, he's going to be ready to play very soon.
So with the 13th pick, Carolina took the first player out of the WHL, out of Portland, Seth Jarvis. Donald, did you get to see him play this year? Donald.
Yeah. I think it's a great pick. I think he's probably the most exciting player to come out of the WHL this year. He's just got great feet, spectacular hands. Even on their zone entry on the power plays with Portland, it's basically just give him Seth, get out of his way. I think he's a real elusive target. I also do like that he's not afraid to go to dirty areas either. And a lot of times what you'll find is he ends up finding those loose pucks. He still ends up finding those small areas, and he's able to make plays. He's just got great hands. I think those skills translate to the pro level immediately. He's a little undersized, but he just plays with tremendous effort. And I think he's going to be one who's going to figure it out. He's going to be a great asset to the Hurricanes.
He's a kid to me that just got better and better. Saw him early in the year. I thought he was going to be maybe a French first rounder, and then as the season went on, he seemed to just find another level. His compete, I thought, went through the roof. He was a difference maker every shift in a positive way. He's playing for the Winterhawks, where he's got an NHL staff there. The guys that have been in the NHL, the expectations are NHL, and he seemed to thrive under the pressure and the expectations they had for him. He was a kid as the season went on. When I saw that they were going to play and the Portland was playing, he was a kid that I was actually excited to watch because I thought he was just going to keep creeping up and up and up. And if the season went on, there was a chance that he was going to sneak into the top 10. To me, he was unbelievable.
He's incredible. I think he's incredible too. I'm surprised Winnipeg didn't take him at 10.
Yeah, me too, actually.
He's incredible.
Yeah, I think of all with this whole COVID, I think Seth might have been the one who was hurt the most because Ian, you're absolutely right. He just got better and better with each game, and he was on a real hot streak there before the pause.
14th pick, Edmonton took NCAA player. I think he played in the AJHL before he moved on to Wisconsin. Dylan Holloway.
Yeah, he's a physically mature kid. Playing for Wisconsin, he was with a crew of kids who were high draft picks last year. He probably didn't get the power play time, and in order to deserve it, to tell you the truth, with some of the kids that Wisconsin had there. But as far as a guy who's going to compete internationally, he was a force kill in penalties. He was blocking shots, which I know seems like it's something easy to do, but it's definitely not. I know that when the other draft picks from Wisconsin, they went and they played in the World Juniors and all that kind of stuff, that Holloway got time on the power play and special teams, and he did really well. We saw him. He turned into a mid-wall guy. When the Wisconsin played the national development team, the U.S. team, he was the mid-wall guy, and he was a force in that game. His skating's excellent. His compete is excellent. He's strong as a bull. He takes the puck to the net. He's not going to be as pretty and a dancer as some of the other kids. He's not like, he's certainly not like Rossi or Profetti, but he is a bull. He's going to be an NHLer, and he's going to play.
The 15th pick, Toronto went over to Russia and took Rodion Amarov, the left winger.
Yeah. This kid he's not that big. What do we have him here? Is at 6'1", 167. When you watch him, I don't even think he looks that big. but he's strong on the puck. He's really, really good at protecting the puck below the goal line and rolling up the mid wall and then attacking off the top of the circle. He's got a quick release. He puts it where he wants it. It's deceptive. He can come off and he can shoot the puck through the defender's legs and still not just hit the net. He can pick a spot through those legs. He's got something there. He can one-time the puck hard. He's strong. Like I said, he certainly doesn't look like he's 167 pounds, but he protects the puck really well. He's light on his feet, and I mean that as a compliment, not as somebody who gets knocked down and knocked around. He's got quick feet, and he accelerates unbelievably well. And with the puck, he's got that stutter step where he fakes. He's gonna, fake and go back, and he just keeps on going and attacks the net. And he is a force, and he is deadly coming off the mid wall.
Caden Gooley, pick 16, went to Montreal. He's out of the WHL, playing past year for Prince Albert. Donald, do you have any comments on him?
I tweeted about it a little bit earlier today, but I just think he's a prototypical new age NHL pro defenseman. He's lanky. He has a bit of physical bite to him, but he prefers to play that cerebral game. Defensively, he's just strong positionally. He's got a great stick. He uses his length and leverage well. Offensively, he's got a great shot. Uses it smartly. Isn't afraid to possess the puck. He's got lots of poise. I just think he's got that ability with his long stride to carry the puck up the ice with confidence. I think there's real potential there for him to be an impactful player at both ends of the ice. Yeah, he's a pretty exciting pick.
Yeah, we had a chance to watch him play at the CHL Prospects game in Hamilton after Christmas. Paul and I did, and he may have been the most dominant player on the ice. Donald, we loved that. Against this competition in Canada, he stood right up at that blue line and kept pucks in. He wasn't scared of anybody coming in on him. Tight gapping guys defensively, going at guys in the corners. He really kind of announced a physical presence there in front of the net and in the corners. Scored a beautiful snapshot from the blue line. Like, he just kind of did it all. He really had an impressive game that day.
Yeah, it's only a one game test for us there, but as Marlon said, I thought he was the most dominant player on the ice in that game, and he did have a real nasty, prickly side to him. It was good to watch. All of the poise and game that you say he has, Donald. That game, I thought he was real dominant.
He's definitely got some ornery in him. He's going to play.
He's
against the top lines.
He's proven to be a leader too.
At 17, Chicago took Lucas Reichel out of Berlin in the DEL. Kind of the first pick that went a little bit off the board. We had him at 57. You think Chicago is taking a little bit of a reach there with Reichel?
Well, I think they probably know that he's not going to be ready to come over right away, and they're taking a chance that he's an 18-year-old playing against men in Germany, playing in the DEL. I've done well coming over recently. Realistically, I don't think he's going to be here for 2 to 3 years. So it might be a little bit of reach, but if Chicago's confident in what they've got and what's going on with their forwards and the contract situation, he's a kid that could be walking into a sweet spot in about 3 years.
All right, moving along. Devils at pick 18. I believe this is their second pick of the day. They took Dawson Mercer out of Chicoutimi in the queue. Sorty, do you get to see him play this year?
Yeah, I've seen him quite a bit. I love this player. There's a lot to like about Dawson Mercer. In my opinion, I think he's the most complete two-way forward in the draft. He's a player that plays in all situations and excels at all situations. He was great on the penalty kill. He's used on the power play as well. He's really good in tight areas. And there's really no flaws to his game. He can really be sent out there in any situation, and I just like a lot about his game. Another thing I love, he can shoot the puck in many different ways. He shoots it in stride. He shoots it close to his body, and he's just always getting pucks on net. And like I said, also he's just a mature player. It's his third year in the league. He's a bit of an overager for this draft, but you can tell that putting up the high numbers on a strong Drummondville team last year, he carried that over this year, and he's played with Chicoutimi as well after he got traded. So I really think he's close to being NHL ready. He has all the tools. He plays a mature style, and he can be used anywhere in the lineup. He's definitely a player coaches love to have. So I was excited for the Devils, and they really got like a Swiss Army knife here. So I think it's a great pick.
It's a kid to me that can play in all situations once he's playing pro. He proved it this year. He can be out at the end of the game when they're protecting the lead. He can be out in the offensive zone when they need the goal. He is definitely a two-way kid.
Yeah, and there's obviously people a lot of people maybe think that he doesn't have that upside at the next level. But when you play such a complete game like him, you really can't go wrong with a pick like Mercer. So he's going to light it up this year in the Q2. He already started off the year at a crazy pace. So he's playing with Lapierre, who got picked later on, who we're going to talk about. But he's definitely a guy who's going to put up big numbers this year, close to 50 goals and probably 100 points. He's going to put up high numbers.
Rangers used their second pick of the day. You know, they used their first pick on forward. They took a defenseman at pick 19, Braden Schneider. He's out of Brandon in the WHL. I guess we'll go to Donald.
Yeah, I really love this pick. He's one of my favorite players to watch all year. He's a physical specimen. I mean, look at his profile picture. He looks like Superman. Just physically dominant, physically imposing. You know, especially at the end of the year, they were in Calgary quite a bit, so I got to watch him a lot live. And he just doesn't get fooled. One-on-one, you could pull out whatever tricks you want, and he doesn't care. He's going to stiff arm me. He's going to throw you to the ground. If you get along the boards, he's going to dominate you. Really, really good skater. They don't talk about it enough. I don't think that for his size, he moves really well. Powerful stride. It's smooth. You know, defensively, he's just smart. Eats up shots. Gets in lanes. Doesn't hesitate. He leads by example. Offensively, I think you hear about he might not. That side of his game might not necessarily translate to the pro level, but I mean, he's got skill there. He plays the point on the power play. He walks the blue line. He's got good enough feet. You know, slap shot might need a little work, but he uses it. He's deceptive. He's not afraid to use a heavy wrist shot to get shots through. I just like him. He's a smart player. He's physical. I think New York did a really good job there to try to fill in some of the holes that might have left earlier this summer.
I really like Schneider a lot. I think he's a kid. He's gonna be. He could be a top 2 kid, or at worst, he's gonna be a top 4. Who, as they know, against the other team, to me, he's got great feet when he's playing a line rush. He can pinch it off early. He has the vision to look around and see the late wave coming. He understands to play the dots if need be, and he has a great stick. You know, I guess the knock would be offensively, what's he going to provide? But, you know, he's so steady. He's good in transition. He makes a great outlet. You know, it doesn't have to be a puck that, you know, is right on his stick that he's receiving to give a great pass to hit his forwards in stride. He can receive a crappy pass, gather it quickly, no stick handle, and move it quickly. And his forwards are going to love that, especially what they've got in New York.
Rounding out the top 20, the Devils had their third pick of the day. They went back over to Russia. Shakir Mukhamadullin, 6'4", 178 defender, playing over in Ufa.
Yeah, he's obviously just a massive kid at 178. He's probably going to put on about 20, 25 pounds. He plays hard. He plays tough. He has an absolute rocket of a shot. His shot is a missile. You know, everything else, he's just a big kid growing into himself. But the coordination on his shot looks to be athletically, it's all there. And his shot is a cannon. And a cannon.
Was up next, and they went off the board a little bit. They took Yegor Chinakhov. He's an overager. Looks like he's over in the KHL this year at Omsk. He's had a pretty good start of the season. Looks like he has 5 goals in his first 12 games, but a little bit off the board for Columbus here.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him other than 5 goals as a 19-year-old in the KHL is good. He's got, by the picture we've got up right now, he's got pretty good hair and he looks like he's confident. So yeah looks like a first rounder.
Look good, play good.
Look good, play good. That's right. So Sorty had mentioned this a couple minutes ago. Hendricks Lapierre. I think there might have been some injury concerns. Maybe that's why he dropped a little bit. He went to Washington at 22. Sorty.
Yeah, the 6 skills, talented player, highly touted growing up. He was a former first overall pick to the Q. There's so much talent. You kept hearing the announcers saying, when is he going to be taken? People were talking about him as the wild card of the draft. But when you think about his offensive talent, like you think about people talking about having the puck on a string, Lapierre could hold the puck. He can make plays. He's good on his edges. There's just a lot of offensive talent there. He makes a lot of plays where he's skating around the zone and he makes these backhand passes behind the back. He finds the open guy backdoor. So when it comes to playmaking ability, carrying the puck up the ice, he's definitely one of the best players in the draft. It's funny that Washington picked him because when I think of him and when I think about the way he plays, I think of him as a shorter Evgeny Kuznetsov who loves carrying the puck. But if there's one flaw, the same one like Kuznetsov has is that he hates shooting the puck as well. So if there's one thing, exactly. It's kind of like my problem too. But if there's one thing that he needs to get better on and improve on is definitely his killer instinct around the net. It's definitely showing a willingness to shoot the puck a little more, to get a little hungry around the zone. Because at the next level, teams are just gonna choke up on him and they're not gonna respect his shooting ability. So everyone knows he can pass, everyone knows he can make plays, everyone knows he can slice through defensemen and hold that puck to the final last second. But if he doesn't show a willingness to get to the net a little more and play a little grittier, then he might have trouble. So apparently his injury concern, it was problems with his neck and not necessarily concussions. So he should be cleared for that. But I think when it goes further into looking into Lapierre, it's a little more his willingness to get a little dirty and get a little gritty around the net and shooting the puck and showing a little bit more scoring. But he started the season off he's going to be on a torrid pace. I think he has 9 points in 3 games. He's going to put up big numbers.
To me, the thing with him will be that he likes to have the puck on his stick so much. And will he adjust to giving the puck and going? So I mean, it sounds simple just to give and go, but he really, really likes to have the puck on his stick a long time. You said it. He holds it to the very bitter end, and if he can give it and go and get it back, his skill set is really pretty dynamic, and he's got some guys there in Washington. They're going to love him.
Yeah, and then if you guys remember Nahalinka, he was incredible too with Profetti. Him and Profetti were probably the best players. So he has the talents there. It's going to be interesting to see how he develops.
He had the 23rd pick. They took the right winger out of Barrie, Tyson Forrester. I guess we'll go to Paul or Marlon.
Yeah, I was really happy to see Philadelphia step up on this kid. He's one of my favorite players. I like him for a lot of reasons. I go back to trajectory. In minor Bantam, he was a defenseman. He's been a minor hockey defenseman. Someone moved him up in his major Bantam year, and he was drafted late 3rd round into the OHL, and from there he's become Barry's stud. He's got a rocket, an absolute rocket for a shot. He's got just a lethal one-timer on the power play. Big kid, strong kid. Not the fleetest of skaters, but he goes pretty good. And I'll tell you what, if he can't go around you, he's going to go over you or he's going to go through you. He gets to those areas where he can rip those shots off quickly. And Paul and I again, we got a chance to watch him in that CHL Prospects game, and he was dominant. I think he may have been even Paul, if I'm not mistaken, he might have been named Player of the Game.
I think he's Player of the Game. I think he had 2 goals.
Assist and just seeing what that kid could do. when he was playing with other guys that made him better. It was great to watch. So I was happy to see Philadelphia, step up on him. I think he's a kid that if he doesn't crack it into the top six, can grind it out and be a great third line winger that gives you secondary scoring at the very worst. And then as he matures and whatever, he'll place top six. He'll be someone's goal scorer.
And just shocking to see his evolution as well. Marlon mentioned he was a defenseman in minor band, and we liked him going into the OHL draft. He played up in Barrie, and he was a playmaking center, a really slight playmaking center with good hockey IQ. I don't see him as much in the OHL because Marlon's got that side of the division, and Marlon said you got to take a look at this kid and to see the shot. A shooting winger, a kid who started out, in our view, as a high IQ centerman. It looks to me like he's very versatile as well. He's got he thinks the game, and again, his evolution and the way he's developed over the last few years, it's been quite nice to see.
Philadelphia drafts so well too. They seem to always find these types of players who always end up being really good NHL players. And they develop really well. I think Konechny was picked around this time too, and he's probably one of their best forwards right now. So
to me he just seems like a Philly kind of guy. He just Marlon, you were talking about his one-timer and his shot. This is in the Wayback Machine, but to me he one-times the puck and shoots the puck like Glenn Murray, who came into the NHL as a third-line kid and found his way as a shooter and did really well with Thornton in Boston and ended up back in LA. But just the way he shoots and he gets the whip on the stick and his posture reminds me of Glenn Murray. And like I said, I totally can see him as a Philly kid.
24th pick, Calgary took Connor Zary, centerman out of Kamloops in the WHL. Donald?
Yeah, it's interesting. Calgary traded down twice. I wonder if they just had him targeted down there. But the thing I think I like most about Zary is exactly what he's going to be. He's easy to project, in my opinion. He's just a complete 200-foot player. I'm surprised he fell this far. And Ian or any of the other guys, if you guys want to talk and maybe speculate as to why you think he was available that well, because for me, he's one of the most complete players in this draft. Very good defensively, plays hard, and plays positionally well, especially in transition and in the neutral zone. He's a takeaway machine. And, he's got a really hard shot. It's deceptive off the rush. On the power play, he likes to play the half boards. He sees the ice well. He's patient with the puck. He just plays a hard-nosed game. I personally think, you're talking about Forrest or being able to fill that third line role if it doesn't quite work out for him offensively. I feel Zary's the exact same way. I mean, I could see him being a top six and being successful just as much as I could see him being a very good bottom six forward for a team. But the one thing you heard throughout the year, and when you watch, you can see he's got safe stride. But he moves well. He's not a slug out there. He moves really well. So I don't think really interested to see that he fell that far.
I don't find his skating will be as much of an issue as people think it'll be. I think he moves well and he just has a motor too. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. He works tremendously hard, and I think just that's kind of the theme, especially with the forwards in the WHL this year. Is they all have high motors, and he's no exception.
He was good in the prospect game too. I thought he was really good, and I'm surprised. I thought maybe Montreal would take him at 16, and he kept dropping, but he puts up numbers too, and I think he's awesome.
Yeah, well, and that's a good point too. I mean, in his first year in the WHL, he put up 67 points. So he's been here for a while. He's kind of presented himself now for 2 years.
Yeah.
Colorado was up next at 25. They took Justin Barron out of Halifax and out of Quebec. Sorty?
Yeah, he's great. He's great. He's had some bad luck with injuries as well. He had you heard it saying a little bit on the broadcast. He's had some issues with blood clots. He missed half the season last year, and he just had another procedure to start the season this year. But if you guys remember, when he was a 16-year-old, he's a late birthday as well, but he was rated as a top 10 pick, like in this draft, you know. So he has a lot of potential. He's a great two-way defenseman. He skates super well. He handles the puck well. He makes a nice outlet pass. He can carry the puck out of the zone to make a quick transition pass. He can either skate it into the zone, make plays, stop up, turn around, find the open man. And he's long. He has a big body as well. So I think Colorado is just stacking up here on some great players, some great defensemen as well, especially with Bowen Byram coming in. But like we mentioned with a couple defensemen earlier, like a bit like Gooley, he's the prototypical modern day defenseman where he can skate, he can pass, he can shoot, he does a little bit of everything. So maybe he's not overly physical. He's not one of the more physical defensemen of this draft, but he angles well. He has a quick stick, and his hockey IQ is really high. So his brother played at Cornell. He was a great player at Cornell. There's a good hockey bloodline there. So as long as he's healthy, Barron, he's going to be a stud.
I love this pick. I think if he was healthy and blood clots, and I think he would have been a top 10. To me, he hits a stretch pass incredibly well. He looks guys off and finds the guy in the seam long. He's a big kid. He skates well. I think it's unfortunate he's had the blood clot issues because I would imagine something you can control with medicine. I don't know, but I think this kid could be a steal here. In all honesty, I think he could be phenomenal
for a great team too.
Yeah.
I think Lewis took Jake Neighbors out of Edmonton in the WHL at pick 26. I guess we'll go back out to Donald.
Yeah, a little surprised to see him go this high, but as I was thinking about it, the way Jake plays, he plays a lot like a St. Louis Blue. I think it's going to be a good fit for him there, for that team. He's really hard to play against. He's physically strong. Like he's thick, and he's built really, really strong and skates really fast, especially in straight lines. Like with a lot of these players I've gotten to watching from Bantam and with Jake, he's kind of always been that dominant player from Bantam on. He was the 4th overall pick. In his midget year playing in the AMHL, he won MVP. He plays in the WHL Cup, and he was the best player for me on the ice. He's got a great shot, and he just plays that gritty, in-your-face style that's gets under the opponent's skin. A story I've told a couple of times already. I was up in Edmonton to watch a game, and after the game, I was just kind of walking just through the hallways at down at the bottom, and was walking by the away team's locker room because they just beaten Edmonton, and they had cheered specifically for beating Jake Neighbors. I can't repeat what some of the words were, but I just kind of thought to myself, you have to be that good to get that kind of treatment. So, yeah, I think the more I thought about it, I thought it was a great pick for St. Louis. And again, he's just one of those players who can slide up and down the lineup with his talent. And he plays hard enough, he plays heavy enough that he can fill that bottom 6 role as well.
Yeah, to me, he's so Billy Armstrong. I played with Billy Armstrong, and he moved on from St. Louis to Arizona. But like you said, he is a St. Louis pick. So I'm sure that before everything happened with Army's move, he was a guy that you talked about targeting because he definitely is hard to play against, without a doubt. I think he can play top 6. He might not be a power play guy or a pure power play guy, but he'll be a net front guy. He can be a bumper, and he sure as hell is going to do what it takes to win.
The 27th pick, Anaheim took Jacob Perreault out of Sarnia. I know we had seen him play for the Chicago Mission. I think he was a first-round OHL pick, right wing. Marlon or Paul?
Yeah, Jacob came out of the gate in the OHL and got 30 in his first year and 30, close to 40 this year in the abbreviated season. In my view, he's low center of gravity, a bulldog, quick feet, just loves to shoot the puck. Few games at the beginning of the year, I went out to see him, and I thought, oh man, this is too one-dimensional for me. But as the year progressed, I saw more and more development of the two-way game, more and more net drive. Made it very, very difficult as he got stronger. Very, very difficult on the opposing defenders, stopping him from getting to the net. And again, I say he's just a shooter. I expect him to get 50+ goals next year in the OHL, depending on what kind of season we get out of here. But if it's a full season, he's going to score a bunch of goals.
Ottawa took American out of Chicago Steel. Prior to that was at Shattuck. Brendan Brassan, listed at 5'11", 177, centerman. He'll be going to the University of Michigan.
Yeah, ultra competitive kid. He's gotten better and better. He's a kid that is around the puck. He's around the traffic. He does not take crap from anybody. He's not going to be a penalty minute guy, but he's going to battle. He's going to fight for the ice in front of the net. He's got a really quick release. He's very enthusiastic. He's a kid. He's probably a couple years away from legitimately having a chance, but his trajectory has just been it's just up and up and up. He's a kid that gets better and better. And what I like about this is he's going to go to Michigan, and he probably wasn't as highly touted as some of the other kids they've got in that class, yet he ends up as the first rounder. He always has something to prove. His father is a big-time agent in the NHL, and some kids let that sit in their ass.
That was my fault. He was taken by Vegas at 29. We skipped over 28, which went to the Senators again, and that was Ridley Gregg, centerman out of Brandon in the WHL. So again, he went to Ottawa Senators at 28. Donald, do you have any comments on Ridley?
Yeah, Ridley is just complete. Plays really, really gritty in your face game. Fiery is probably a better way to explain him or explain his game. It just leads by example. Always the first one in on the forward check. Maybe not naturally an offensive player, but he still has really nice hands. He makes quick decisions, good decisions, especially along the boards. When he has that half a second, he's protecting the puck, he can make plays. But I think he's going to make his bread and butter just off of being that effort-based player that coaches and teams that he plays for are going to love, and teams that he plays against are going to hate. I think it was a really great pick by Ottawa. I think they had a great first round. And I mean, you look at his bloodlines too. His father was a first-round draft pick. Mark, his uncle was drafted, I think, into the NHL as well. It's interesting. Mark is also he's a longtime scout for the Flyers. And you talk about the Flyers being a team that's drafting really well right now. If you look at their picks out in Western Canada, Mark has a lot of pull. Because there's a lot of guys out here who have been picked by the Flyers and who are doing really well right now. And I was actually kind of a little curious to see if Greg might go there, but they went with Forrester instead. But Ottawa should be excited.
He's a kid. Again, we'll go on the way back machine. I wrote the first time I saw him, he reminded me of a guy named Tyler Wright, and Writer was a first-round pick by Edmonton. Played in the Western League. Not overly big, but he was an absolute pain in the ass. He ended up, I played with him in Pittsburgh. He was a pain in the butt, unbelievable teammate. And they went to Columbus in the expansion draft, ended up being a leader there, got into their front office. And now he's up in Edmonton as director. I think they're the director of amateur scouting, but he was right away when I watched him play the first time, I just wrote down Writer, and I know exactly what he is and how you just describe him. He's and he gives it, and he does not back down.
At the CHL prospects game too, every time the Greg kid come out on the ice, I sat on the edge of my seat. I wanted to see what he was going to do. He was fun to watch, in everybody's face. Man, oh man, he's a fireball out there. Real abrasive game that night. Really nice to see him go in the first round. I don't know if we expected it, but he he was very good that night.
So we talked about Vegas at 29. They took Brendan Brassan. And then at 30, Dallas took Maverick Bourque out of the queue. He's playing at Shawinigan.
Yeah, so he's a player who can create offense. He's a very talented player. He's extremely deceptive. He can pass the puck as well as score. And he's definitely a numbers guy, right? So, look, I was a little surprised to see him go to Vegas. I wasn't surprised to see him necessarily go in the first round because his talent's undeniable. But it's just what I'm just interested to see is how he really projects at the next level, right? Because he doesn't overly compete too hard. His defensive game, there's a lot of nights that he takes off, and sometimes he looks like he's playing a little selfish out there where he's worrying about points. But when it comes to creating off the power play, when it comes to creating off odd man rushes and pulling that toe drag and putting it short side, Bourque can definitely produce. So he's going to have a big year. He's going to put up a lot of points. But it was just a little interesting to see him go to a team like Dallas where their forwards are all over 6'2", 6'3". They really push the pace. He's more of a player who slows it down. He takes his time. He finds the open man and uses his creativity and his awareness to really create offense. But I'd like to see him compete a little more. I'd like to see him play a little bit better off the puck because there is times where you want a little bit more from him, and there is times where you're wondering where has Bourque been all game. But he's a numbers guy. He knows how to create, and I see him at the next level, hopefully projecting like a Claude Giroux and Travis Konechny if he can really fill in his potential. So we'll see.
To me, he's a kid that physically needs to get stronger. And I wonder if the days and the games where he wasn't as involved, if he wasn't tired and worn down. Because there are other games when it would be, the first of a weekend series where I thought he could be a dominant force. And then you see on the last game on the weekend, he might not be engaged. And to me, when I was watching it, I just wondered if he needs to get, a little bit more in the weight room and get stronger. And he's a kid that comes out as a late first round pick and you see him in 3 years and you're like, holy crap, how the hell did he slide so far? But to me, it's a weight room thing with him to get in. And I'm not saying he's out of shape. I just think he needs to get stronger and be ready to compete at the professional level. But he's a kid that you could be like, what the hell was he getting picked so late?
Yeah.
And rounding out the first round, the San Jose Sharks took Ozzie Wiesblatt, right winger out of Prince Albert in the WHL. Donald?
Yeah. There's been a couple of picks here from the WHL. I think we'd all agree that at the end of the round that we were a little surprised that they ended up what they did. Ozzie could be one of them, but just to talk a little bit about him about off ice. I don't know how much you guys know, but he's got 3 other brothers: Oasis, Orca, and Ocean. I believe Ocean just is a 99, so I believe he just aged out. Orca is playing for the Hitmen right now. He's a 2000, and Oasis was just drafted in Bantam last year, and both their parents are deaf. So these guys, they're kind of well known in Calgary, but these guys, they all learn sign language. Growing up in that atmosphere can't be easy. Their mother is always around. So he's just a great kid. With Ozzie in particular, you never hear a bad word about him. And I'm not surprised to see him end up in the first round because I think his character speaks volumes. And on the ice, again, just a terrific skater, in your face, energetic. The offensive upside on the pro side of things, we'll see, but he projects probably to be a bottom 6 effort-based player that people are going to hate to play against. And from everything I've heard, a great teammate, a great competitor, and easy to coach. So not surprised to see him land where he did.
Yeah, I just think he's a kid that competes every night. I'm not totally surprised to see him going this high. I was a little shocked, but knowing his family situation and the leadership skills that he has, he's a great end of the first round pick.
Yeah.
So that was the first 31 picks in the first round. At the bottom of the screen, there's going to be a NZ top 5 available for round 2. We'll be back with coverage tomorrow. I believe the draft is going to start at 11:30 Eastern time tomorrow. We'll have rounds 2 through 7. We'll be giving updates on players drafted and providing commentary on Twitter throughout the day. So make sure that you follow the Twitter handles and check back in here to see the rest of the picks in rounds 2 through 7. So thanks everyone for taking some time to check in with us tonight, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.